Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Joy Cardine, and I'd like to introduce Elena Haasl, who is running for the Dane County Board of Supervisors, Seat 5. And as we begin, I'd like to give you an opportunity to give us an opening statement outlining the educational, vocational, and civic experience that qualifies you for this office, and tell us why you're running for County Board.
Yeah, so thank you. My name is Elena Haasl, and I am a sophomore at UW-Madison. I'm currently a double major in Community and Environmental Sociology and Political Science with a certificate in Gender and Women's Studies. And I'm also employed by the Campus and Visitor Relations Department at UW-Madison. I work as an information guide, staffing the front desks at the student unions. I've worked on several campaigns in the past. I've worked on a state assembly campaign back in my home district, District 31, which is like Rock County, Walworth County. Worked on a city council campaign for another student last year, Matthew Mitnick for city council, and I've also worked on a congressional campaign as well. As far as experience goes, I have also been an intern at the Capitol for 8 months and just finished my intern with Representative Spreitzer last semester. And I've also served as a Democratic Fellow over the summer for Representative Robin Vining. I'm also involved a lot on campus. I was a student appointee to the Campus Climate and Diversity Committee last semester, and I'm a part of #IamUW, which is an effort by the university to encourage more inclusion and diversity on campus. And I'm running because as District 5 is the only student constituency in the county board, I believe that we need a student advocate who's going to represent the issues of the greater campus community.
What do you think is the most important issue facing Dane County today, and how would you address it?
Yeah, so I would say a big issue facing Dane County is climate change. I think quite often we think of climate change of more as a global entity, but I think that we can hone that right back here and make it a local issue. What I've been telling my friends and potential voters is the IPCC last year said we have about 11 years before things become irreversible, and that's before most of us will even finish paying off our student loans. So I think that we can start making a community effort towards climate change and continue to fund programs such as Suck the Muck and the Clean Beach program, and really focus our priorities to the health and well-being of our lakes and watershed, especially with the flooding happening as well. So I would say that that's a big issue facing us because it's extremely time sensitive.
What do you think about the spending priorities as outlined in the Dane County Board's budget, the 2020 budget? Is there any area to which you would add to or take away from?
So I really appreciate how a big portion of the budget goes to mental health services. I think that's also a huge issue facing individuals, and especially having the campus area. 18 to 22-year-olds are left out of the conversation when it comes to talking about mental health. So I think that shifting priorities to maybe finding ways that we can include campus into funding would be great. I also think that we could look at the budget and look at the unallocated funds and see where we could cut to support more groups of marginalized identities, especially racial groups and gender minorities as well.
What can Dane County do to address having one of the worst rates of Black home ownership in the country?
Yeah, so I think it goes back to looking at affordable housing. And I know that as a student, housing is insane in Dane County, but especially for Black homeowners, it's nearly impossible and it's extremely accessible. So I think it comes down to continuing to talk to our community and again, looking at our budget and seeing where we can provide more funding for affordable housing.
Dane County has taken several steps to reduce the incidence of future flooding, you mentioned.
Yep.
How would you evaluate those efforts, and should more be done?
Yeah, so I think that the efforts that are in place right now are a good start, and I think that we need to continue to putting more funds and more time into them because they're very important, and people and businesses have lost millions of dollars because of the flooding. So continuing to put funding and continuing to create innovative ideas to mitigate flooding and pollution should definitely be a priority.
What should be Dane County's priority in addressing issues around criminal justice?
Yeah, so a while ago I toured the jail, and I know there's a lot of talk about jail reform too. with the new building, and that passed through the county board. But I think that we need to, again, talk to communities, communities of color, and find ways that we can address these racial inequalities and like address racial profiling. Dane County is one of the worst for racial profiling and disproportionate arrests for Black and brown citizens. So I think it comes down to finding compassionate and culturally competent solutions.
How could you and other members of the Board of Supervisors improve residents' access to information about the county budget, county services, and upcoming issues and decisions?
Yeah, so I think that it comes down to making the website more accessible. I know that when I was looking at things, I was like, I don't know how to possibly even start with learning what everything means, or navigating the website too. So I think just making it more of a user-friendly website, making it something that someone would feel comfortable clicking on and being like, okay, like I kind of have an idea of what this means. I think having a glossary of terms would be really awesome, because sometimes if a term is taken out of context, someone would just have no idea what it means. So,
what would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
Yeah, so I'm the only student running in the student district. Like I said, there's only one majority student constituency in all 37 districts across the county board. And as the only student running, I think that this is a great bridge for students to get more involved in local politics. It's funny because when I'm doing doors, one of the the most frequently asked questions is, what are you running for? People have no idea. So I think that I would be a great bridge for that, because without a student representative, that entire demographic of students, student voices, is completely lost. So vote like your representation as a student depends on it, because it really does.
All right, well, thank you. I would like to thank Elena Haasl for speaking with us, and to you, the viewing audience, for taking the time to know your candidates. Please vote in the April 7th election and in every election. On behalf of the Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.